Hey, how are you all? The topic for this presentation is a type of research method called a case study. So, what is a case study exactly? A case study is a type of significant investigation of something called a case. A case can be any research variable of interest, like a person, an environment, or a characteristic. Case studies are done in real-world situations or contexts, which lends some degree to validity to them as a research design. So, case studies can be of tremendous use to the research community. Because of their complexity, they can help people collect a lot of information, either qualitative or quantitative. Because researchers have some control, they can collect more sensitive information than other types of research. Finally, because they use a bottom-up design, which allows researchers to generate hypotheses. Case studies do have some limitations, however. Because they usually involve a single variable, they cannot be generalized to a larger population or subset of data. Because they are conducted from the bottom up, they typically can't demonstrate cause and effect, which is the aim of most research types. And finally, because the method and steps are generated by the researchers, they can often lead to what we call experimental bias. There are many different types of case studies conducted across many different fields of scientific investigation. Researchers can study groups of individuals for specific variables like behaviors, exercise, or personality attributes like obsessiveness or anger. Case studies can also be conducted and their results and data trends used to change or support or generate scientific theories. Collective case studies involve studying a group of individuals. An example of this would be looking at PTSD in war veterans from all wars to see what contributes most to wartime PTSD. Descriptive case studies are ones that present a description of something. You may be describing a community, context, or an intervention that may be taking place. An example of this may be investigating a small group of students' experience and performance when using a particular software tool to help them learn anatomy and physiology throughout the term. An exploratory case study explores and describes an issue that there is little or no work done on. There's often a limited amount of work that has been done previously on that topic. This can develop a theory and build a better understanding of this topic and can lead to causal relationships. This is generally preliminary to a larger study and helps you refine the research questions you will ask in your larger study. These types of studies generally answer how, why, or what questions. An example of this may be looking at student perceptions of learning chemistry online. Instrumental case study focuses on one problem or one concern, and it has a grounded case. What's a grounded case? It means that you focus on one group, multiple groups, individuals, programs, activities, or events. An example of this is when a researcher conducts a study on memory care. The memory care is the concern, and the grounded case is the type of patient they decided to focus on. One of the more famous case study examples drawn from the fields of social and psychological sciences was conducted around a railroad worker named Phineas Gage. He himself is known as a case. His life and experience was deeply examined by various interviewers seeking to understand his condition. There was a railroad spike through his brain affecting his personality. Through this investigative study, science was better able to understand specific regions of the brain and their specific functions. Two other examples of types of case studies are a prospective case study and a retrospective case study. Prospective case studies are those which follow an individual or a group of individuals over time and observe certain conditions or variables to arrive at a theme of analysis. Retrospective cases are those which look backward through time to arrive at those same trends of observation. Now, before you can even begin conducting a case study, you must understand where you can find information on which to base an exploratory theory. This slide briefly describes some of the more common ways to collect this beginning information. From here, you would then begin the process of systemic observation of a case, ultimately arriving at a concluding theory or explanation. Archival records to gather data for your case study include census and survey records, while direct observation involves observing the subject. This generally occurs in the subject's natural setting. Many times, this type of observation is done by a group of observers. When looking at documents to help with data for writing a case study, one may use letters, newspaper articles, and administrative records. Interviews are used for gathering information and are considered one of the most important methods of gathering information. An interview may have questions that are structured or open-ended. When getting your data via participant observation, the researcher is a participant in the event and observes the actions and outcomes. When using physical artifacts for your data when writing a case study, you're using tools, objects, instruments, or other artifacts to gather information that is observed during a direct observation of a subject. So, case studies have a lot of usefulness and utility in the fields of research. They're normally very organic and start from the ground up. That's a thought or curiosity guides the development of an investigation, which then frames an empirical paradigm. But as with any form of research, they contain many benefits and limitations that must be known and accounted for. Thanks so much for your time.